We've got a loaded show today, folks. Day one of Cowboys minicamp is officially in the books, and it brought the heat. Energy? Off the charts. Drama? Oh yeah, from rising stars to feisty veterans, and even a little tension between players and media. This thing had it all. We're diving into the standouts, the emerging leaders, and a few warning signs you shouldn't ignore. Let's break it down. Let's start with the atmosphere. Whatever you thought Cowboys practices used to be, throw it out the window. This question mark, this is something else. Offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer, Shotty, is out there setting the tone. The man's got the practice field buzzing like it's a playoff game in December. The energy is contagious. You've got assistant coaches running around like air traffic controllers, literally trying to manage the tempo. It's electric, but here's the real test. Can this level of intensity hold up when adversity strikes? When injuries hit, when the media heat turns up, when things don't go as planned? Will the fire still burn? Because right now, it's beautiful to watch, but this can't be a one-week wonder. This energy has to become the Cowboys' identity, and the difference is obvious. In years past, you'd see players walking between drills, hands on hips, going through the motions. Not this time. Not this group. These guys are locked in from whistle to whistle. Let's talk about who's showing out. George Pickens. Yeah, he's not just showing up, he's putting on a clinic. Absolutely unguardable on day one. Beat Israel Mukuamu clean on a nasty comeback route and kept the highlight reel going all day long. The connection with Dak Prescott is starting to look real. Not forced, not awkward, real chemistry. And then there's Jonathan Mingo. Finally, we're seeing some juice from him. Went up in double coverage and came down with it. Not a single drop all day. That's exactly what you want from a guy trying to carve out his place. But let's be real. Nobody's hitting yet. Pads aren't on. It's easy to make catches when there's no contact. The real test comes when defenders can actually lay a shoulder in your chest. Let's see if Mingo keeps making those grabs when the hits are live. Kaiir Elam made a strong play on a free play situation. Nearly came up with a pick. But outside of that, it wasn't a great day for the secondary overall. And look, that's good and bad. Good, because the offense looks like it's clicking early. But also bad, because if this defensive backfield keeps getting beat consistently throughout camp, the front office may need to take a hard look at making some moves. You can't just tell yourself the offense is elite while ignoring a secondary that's bleeding plays. It doesn't work that way. If one side of the ball is constantly losing, that's not iron sharpening iron. That's a red flag. Now, to be fair, the defensive backs aren't playing with full rights to the ball right now. It's minicamp. They can't play full speed. No physical contact, no real press coverage, no shots across the middle. So yeah, it's not apples to apples. But if this continues into training camp, with pads on and contact allowed, it'll be time to worry. The energy is real. The playmakers are stepping up, but it's early. Very early. Right now, it's about potential, but soon, it's going to be about production. This Cowboys team is laying a foundation, but whether they build a house or just another mirage will come down to how they handle what's next. Now let's talk defense, specifically the linebacker room. It's a hot topic right now, and there's a lot of buzz around Jack Sanborn. Some folks are already calling him the Cowboys' starting middle linebacker, but let's hit pause. First, we've got to be fair to the secondary and linebackers in general. This isn't real football yet. There's no live contact, no physical coverage, no real press. So it's hard to judge too harshly, especially in the back seven. What you see on the surface doesn't always match what's happening underneath. That's why it's crucial not to get swept up in early camp hype. Now back to Sanborn. He made some noise on day one, solid positioning, broke up a few short throws, always around the ball when the offense tried to work the middle of the field. That's the stuff you want from your linebackers: instinct, awareness, hustle. Sanborn showed that. But is he ready to lead the defense? Is he the guy in the middle? There's a report floating around that paints him as the early frontrunner for the starting Mike role. A feel-good story for sure. Sanborn, once a temporary fix in Chicago, now allegedly turning heads in Dallas. But let's not jump the gun. There's a bigger picture here. If we're being honest, Kenneth Murray Jr. might be the name to watch in that race, not Sanborn. And there are a few reasons why. First off, Murray's got the pedigree. He's got the athleticism, the physicality, and the experience to take on that role. He didn't come to Dallas to be a backup. He said it loud and clear the moment he arrived. I want to be the middle linebacker. I want to be the shot caller. That wasn't just a quote. It was a statement of intent. And here's the thing. Murray didn't say that unless the coaching staff gave him a green light. You don't come into a new organization and declare yourself the defensive quarterback without a conversation behind closed doors. Look at the tape. Last season, Murray wasn't perfect, especially in coverage, but there's more to the story. He's a force against the run. His pass rush flashes. His overall grade, solid. It's the coverage grade that dragged him down, and yeah, it was rough. But when you actually sit down and watch all 50 plus of his coverage snaps from last year, you understand why the numbers look the way they do. He wasn't just getting beat, he was being put in tough spots. Mismatches, late rotations, scheme limitations. That stuff matters, and it's why the Bears were willing to move on. But in Dallas, in this system, with a fresh start and coaches who believe in him, this could be different. None of this is a knock on Sanborn. The guy is a tough, smart football player. He's dependable. He's physical. He's an asset, no question. He's going to be valuable in the rotation, especially in run-heavy packages. He might be part of a 3-linebacker set with Murray in the middle, and guys like Maris Lufau or Shamar flanking him in space. But let's not rewrite history here. Sanborn wasn't the Bears' starting middle linebacker last year. He played there at times, sure, but that wasn't his main role. So handing him the keys to the Cowboys' defense now, it feels premature. Even Schottenheimer made it clear just a week ago. They're rotating guys, mixing and matching, testing combinations. Nothing is set in stone. This is still wide open. Early camp buzz is fun. It's part of the ride. But don't confuse buzz for truth. Don't hand out crowns after one practice. What happens in June is cool, but what matters is what happens in September. The real story, it's not written yet. But the battle for that middle linebacker spot is going to tell us a lot about how tough and how serious this defense plans to be. Let's call it like it is. From everything we've seen and heard, the Cowboys themselves probably believe that Kenneth Murray Jr. is going to be the man in the middle. He just checks the right boxes: speed, experience, sideline to sideline movement. He can stay on the field all 3 downs. That's the kind of presence you need at the mic. That's not a knock on Jack Sanborn. He's smart. He's instinctual. But if you're relying on him to chase down wideouts or drop deep into coverage, you're setting him up to fail. That's not his strength. You don't want Sanborn trying to turn and run with guys or play catch-up in space. That's not the game you want him in. So what makes sense? Early downs, short yardage, run-heavy looks. That's where Sanborn fits. And honestly, that's how the linebacker group is shaping up overall. A rotational unit deployed like chess pieces depending on the situation. You're going to see Murray, Sanborn, Maris Lufau, and DeMarvion Overshown used in different packages. Each one brings something unique. Lufau, downhill hammer. Sanborn, old-school plug-and-hit backer. Overshown, rangy, athletic, and excellent in pursuit. Kenneth Murray Jr., the hybrid of them all. Especially effective when free to roam. Don't be surprised if Dallas treats the linebackers like a 4-man platoon. Plug and play, mix and match. If it's a clear passing down, you'll see Overshown or a speedier backer. If it's 3rd and 1, Sanborn and Liufau are crashing downhill. That's how this defense is going to operate, by design. Now here's another layer fans sometimes overlook: the contract situation. Sanborn's deal, just a one-year rental. That alone tells you a lot. Teams don't sign players to short-term deals if they see them as cornerstone starters. It doesn't add up. If Sanborn were handed the Mike role and then walked after the season, you're right back to square one. That's not smart roster building. That's not how you develop a sustainable defense. The Cowboys know that. It's why they brought in Murray and drafted Liufau. Long-term solutions. Versatile pieces. Sanborn, he's valuable depth, a bridge player, good locker room guy, reliable in spurts, but not someone you're building around. So let's just cool off on that starter talk. It's a great story, but stories don't win games. Fit, film, and foresight do. Now let's pivot to the secondary, because there's some energy heating up there too. Israel Mukuamu took offense to some camp chatter that he was getting cooked by George Pickens on a comeback route. He responded loud and clear, basically saying, "Hey, tell the full story. Don't cherry pick one rep. I've been locking dudes up too." And he's got a point. Camp narratives get wild fast. One highlight can make it seem like a player's struggling when, in reality, they're having a strong camp. Mukuamu's fighting to make his name known and doesn't want it tarnished by one bad clip. He's earned the right to speak up. But here's the interesting thing. He's been playing outside corner more in recent practices. Meanwhile, Darren Bland has been staying in the nickel, and Khair Elam has taken most of the reps at the other outside corner. So the current rotation looks like this. Elam, outside Mukuamu, outside Bland, nickel. And you know what? That works. Mukuamu's got the build for it. Long, rangy, physical. Exactly the type of corner this scheme prefers on the boundary. Most of the corners in this system are 6 feet 1 inch or 6 feet 2 inches, built to disrupt timing routes and stay competitive with bigger receivers. Mukuamu fits that mold. And Bland, he's your best nickel. Period. There's no debate there. Regardless of what position he might want long-term or how he wants to be paid down the road, his best football is inside. And if you've got someone playing at an elite level in the slot, you don't mess with that. You put guys where they excel. End of story. The Cowboys are quietly building depth and role-specific talent at every level of the defense. Whether it's the linebacker platoon or the cornerback reshuffling, there's a clear effort to maximize matchups and create flexibility. Don't fall for the flash of camp highlights or the buzz of early hype. This coaching staff is building an identity based on smart rotation, matchup exploitation, and staying true to what each player does best. Guys like Sanborn, Mukuamu, and even rookie Liufau aren't just bodies. They're chess pieces. And when the real games begin, it'll be about who moves the smartest, not just who moves first. Let's clarify something right now. Not every training camp report tells the full story. You hear a reporter highlight one guy, say George Pickens making plays, and suddenly the assumption becomes that the guy on the other side, like Israel Mukuamu, is struggling. That's not always the case. Sometimes it's just about who caught their eye in that one moment. These beat writers are talented, but they can't see everything. No one can. So when you hear something like, Pickens looked great against the DBs, that doesn't automatically mean the DBs are having a rough camp. It means Pickens made plays. It's a snapshot, not the full picture. That said, Patrick Walker did drop a notable gem. He mentioned that Dak Prescott's chemistry with George Pickens looks very real already. We're talking multiple connections, yak, deep shots, and even a double coverage bomb that had CeeDee Lamb on the other side of the field dancing after the catch. And that should get Cowboys fans fired up. We said it before, Pickens was making these kinds of plays in Pittsburgh, but now he's with a quarterback who puts the ball in better spots, with better timing. Dak doesn't just throw it, he puts it where it needs to be. That's going to elevate Pickens. He's already a highlight machine, and if this early camp chemistry holds up, it's going to be a nightmare for opposing secondaries. Now, does this also hint that the secondary needs to step up? Maybe. You don't want your DBs losing every rep in camp, but let's not panic over isolated plays. That'll sort itself out. The takeaway here is that Dak and Pickens look like the real deal. One name that's steadily gaining traction in camp? Brevin Spanford. According to Nick Harris, he's been one of the more consistent media standouts. That's a big deal. And it's even more interesting when you consider that this kind of performance could make Luke Schoonmaker expendable. The former second-round pick hasn't exactly locked down his spot, and if Spanford keeps trending up, Dallas could dangle Schoonmaker as a trade chip. Teams out there with weak tight end rooms might see him as a low-risk, high-upside option. Think Dalton Schultz 2.0 for a team lacking a steady option at the position. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Spanford isn't threatening Jake Ferguson anytime soon. Ferguson has that TE1 spot locked down. I went back and reviewed Spanford's film, particularly his routes and contested catch scenarios. Here's what I saw. Yes, he's got reliable hands in space. Yes, he's a tremendous blocker, possibly the best on the team at the tight end spot. But when it comes to contested catches, that's still a weak spot. He hasn't proven he can consistently win with defenders draped on him. Ferguson, on the other hand, thrives in that exact area. He's a better route runner, more dependable under pressure, and more dynamic after the catch. Spanford brings toughness and physicality, no question. But as a receiver, he's not on Fergie's level just yet. Still, what Spanford does bring is extremely valuable, especially for the Cowboys' offensive identity in 2025. Brian Schottenheimer wants this offense to be multiple. And what does that mean? It means we're going to see a lot of two tight end sets, big bodies, heavy looks, smash mouth football. With Spanford emerging, Dallas now has the flexibility to run power formations and still slip a tight end out into a route. You want to pound the rock? No problem. You want to fake the run and leak Spanford into the flat or up the seam? Easy. This opens up everything, especially if Ferguson and Spanford stay healthy. Those two can be the core of a balanced, physical, and versatile offense. They give Schottenheimer the tools to play chess, not checkers. They allow Dak to work out of heavier sets without sacrificing route running from his tight ends. Bottom line, Spanford's emergence makes the Cowboys more physical, more unpredictable, and better suited to control games. One last note, Donovan Olugbemi Azarawu is another guy making noise in the trenches, but we'll save that for the next show. He's a young lion on that defensive front, and if the early buzz is any indication, there's a real chance he carves out a rotational role this year. We'll get into that in more detail later on. Trust me, you'll want to hear it, but for now, keep your eyes on the Dak Pickens connection, Spanford's rising stock, the shifting roles in the linebacker and cornerback rooms. This roster is getting sharper, stronger, and deeper. And that's exactly what you want to see heading into the heart of the off-season grind.